Hey everyone, this is Lara with Inven Global, and today we witness North America's first win in the League of Legends World Championship group stage. FlyQuest defeated Unicorns of Love, and following we have an interview with FlyQuest jungler Santorin. Congratulations on winning the first game for North America. I think a lot
Yeah,
of
thank
people
you.
expected that Team Liquid would end up beating Machi yesterday, or that TSM would maybe get a win over Fnatic. I mean, for the hopeful ones. Is it a bittersweet feeling to be the first one in an A to win?
I think it's definitely bittersweet considering Ares team has played 2 games already. I definitely didn't expect it to take this long for NA to get a victory, especially not Team Liquid. I feel like Team Liquid was definitely going to be Machi. I was
Yeah.
pretty surprised, honestly. And then also
Same.
today we played Unicorns, and it was definitely not a clean game. So we definitely have a lot to work on just as NA as a whole during this World trip.
Maybe it wasn't a clean game, but I'm pretty sure we all had a lot of fun watching it. What happened that game? It was just like a bunch of head-to-head fights, a Baron steal.
Well, honestly, I feel like our early game, we had a good plan going into it, but I feel like we made a couple of mistakes, giving a couple free kills, basically, like where we kind of knew where they were and we just died anyway. And then there's a couple fights where we just kind of misexecuted. We dove too deep and kind of got punished for it, whereas like it didn't really feel like they were the ones like playing well. It was more us just making a lot of mistakes, which is kind of a bittersweet feeling because definitely like you want to be the one making all the good players, and
Totally.
if you fall behind, you'd hope that it's because the enemy team was playing really well, but it didn't feel like that in this case.
Got it. Your match against UOL was quoted by, if I'm not wrong, Kelsey Moser and Froskurin as the highlight match of the day. And they were half trolling, but half seriously because you guys have some crazy drafts, and you guys, like, both you and UOL have very interesting play styles. How would you rate the Unicorns' unpredictability?
I think it's very hard to predict what they're gonna play. I mean, the AD carry plays all the mid lane champions. They
Yeah.
have so many different compositions. I honestly feel like they're a really hard team to draft against, like when it comes to preparation. So it's definitely something you have to like keep in mind. And just from watching them play, they are a very explosive team, and it's definitely you can't take them too light because they are actually like a team that can like throw you off and actually take a game from you.
That's fair. Yeah. Do you think that in any way maybe they compare to Dragon X or Top Esports in terms of being like a scary team to play against?
I wouldn't put them in the same category as someone like DRX or TES. I feel like those teams are just really, really strong, solid, and they're really scary to play against. Like I feel like they just have like all the components to being a really successful team. I think a team like Unicorns of Love, they have some of these pieces where they really thrive and they're really good at certain things. But I still feel like they have a lot of weaknesses that they still have to work on.
That's fair. All right. When you guys started group stage, I feel like you guys already got pitted against the best of the best. It was a brutal game. The positive results were not there yet. Do you think maybe because they are rated so high, do you think something like the worst is behind you now? You can just move forward and secure a win, just be at peace.
Honestly, our game against Tao Esports was kind of miserable. I felt like we were playing really bad and they were playing really well. So it was kind of a stomp.
Yeah.
So I feel like we have had the worst. Now I feel like it can only go up from here because I feel like we played as bad as we could and they played as well as they could. So I think next time when we do face up against TES Esports or we play against TRX, I feel like it's not gonna be a one-sided stomp like that.
I look forward to it. Let's talk about your individual performance. You're ranking really high on the Chinese Super Server. You're just below Knight, who is considered to be one of the best players in the world right now. So, what's your
Yeah.
experience in the Chinese Super Server been like?
Honestly, I made a tweet at some point where I said I really love that it's first of all low ping is something in NA you take that for granted, you know, like
Yes.
because we're playing on pretty high ping. But then on top
What's
of that,
what's
it's
your
like
usual? Sorry
us
to interrupt.
60 to 70, so it's
Okay.
like doesn't really feel even close to how it would be on stage or like when you're playing scrims.
Totally.
So that was like definitely obviously that's huge. Besides that, I really like Chinese solo queue because people are really aggressive and they're mechanically really, really talented. And the one tricks that are actually playing in Chinese solo queue, they're really, really good at that champion. So you can definitely learn a thing or two from them. And then just in general, I just love the fighting. There's always fighting. Whereas like, at least in NA, it's a lot of farming, scaling, these kind of
Yeah,
things. Whereas
totally.
like here, if you make a mistake, you can get punished.
That's fair. I did hear about the constant one-trick ponies in the server, so it's interesting that you confirmed that. Do you think that being able to rank so high helps your morale in any way?
I don't know about morale, just because I think as a pro player you should just kind of be expected to be up there, because this is where you compete against the best players on the server. So I would say it's a benefit in the sense of that you're playing against the best of the best on the server, whereas like if you're in Diamond or something like that, you're not going to be playing against the best players over and over again. So it's definitely a lot better practice in general.
That's fair. The memes for another NA at Worlds year have already started. Obviously, I think the moment that Worlds started. When you look back at the summer split, what would you say that the North American region was lacking this time?
I do see NA being kind of similar to like when you're watching play-ins, where it's a lot of scaling, which I think is hurting us now because people are playing really fast. They're having like these very intense counter picks where like you're gonna get destroyed in the early game, and I feel like that's something that we've kind of been missing in NA, like these like really oppressive counter picks where the game kind of just explodes if you don't play really well. So I just feel like we as as a region kind of just play too much scaling and kind of use the fact that all teams weren't playing well enough to like kind of just exploit and just play a little more for like the safe scaling win.
That's fair. And how do you feel about the jungle meta here at Worlds? Nidalee is now one of the most popular champions, but you didn't really play her during the summer split in North America. So at the same time, Volibear is doing really well, and you have looked really strong on it during split. What do you think of what's going on with jungle right now?
I like the jungle meta right now. I've always been a huge fan of Nidalee. I don't know if you check my Chinese solo queue account, but I'm basically like spamming Nidalee. I love Nidalee, and then it's a lot of carry jungle matchups, which is really fun to play. Whereas like I remember some of the worlds, I mean I wasn't a part of those, but whereas to be like Kog'Maw Lulu bot lane, and it's like the Arden sensor meta that feel really boring to play, because it's like a bunch of scaling. So I really enjoyed this one where it's like a lot of early game aggression and just keep team fighting.
Which champion you wish that was meta right now that isn't?
I would probably say Kha'Zix. I really love Kha'Zix. That kind of champion, like Assassin, is really fun to play, and you can make some like cool highlight plays.
All right, that's fair. Before Worlds, both you and Solos talked about how FlyQuest tends to be underrated by everyone. Even you guys have good talent, and you guys have proven to play well. You have done extremely well during summer, and you made it to Worlds. People, they thought you guys were just fine, and that you guys maybe got lucky. Was finally crushing this weird prejudice that people have on you guys one of your goals for Worlds?
Well, from personal experience, I don't care too much about like what fans are saying about us. If they're like talking shit or talking down on us, I don't really care too much, because it's like it's a fan opinion, and sure I care about fan opinions, but if it's just like talking like just trying to beat you up basically, I'm not gonna like listen to that kind of stuff. But I do think it's like a goal as like an organization, obviously, like to be known as a good organization, be known as good players. And that's not something a lot of us has had in the past. It's been a lot of like, oh, this guy's not that good, this guy doesn't even deserve to be in this team, that kind of stuff. So I'm happy that we're finally like here at Worlds, and we're proving to be players that deserve to be at Worlds.
Totally, the first NA team to get a win. At groups, I consider that a big W. So, do you think this is enough to prove to fans that FlyQuest is more than just okay?
No. I would say this win should kind of just, I mean, if I was a fan watching this game, I wouldn't feel that great about NA. I would expect us to beat them, and I mean, we did beat them, but it was not in a convincing fashion, and I wouldn't blame them for like not thinking we're that strong because of that. But we just have to like prove in the next 4 games that we're actually a team, that you can't just be like, oh, it's just an LNA team, they're just gonna lose anyway. So we're trying really hard to make sure like we fix our issues for the upcoming matches.
Alrighty, and my last question to you is, where do you think NA is going to rank closer to the end of the first stage of groups?
Rank? So how does that like?
How are they going to rank against the other regions?
Oh, like for example, like LPL channel. Okay, LPL. I mean, right now I think if you want to be realistic about it, I think LPL and Korea are really strong right now. It feels like they're kind of on another level right now, especially their top tier teams. So I would definitely rank us below them right now. And EU, I'd say G2 is like a really good team. I think
Right.
G2 is really good. Fnatic is kind of, I'm not sure where I'd put Fnatic because they're kind of, sometimes they're really, really good and sometimes they're kind of like blundering a lot. But I'd say NA is like kind of with EU in that sense, but I would say like their top team is probably better than our top team.
All right. Thank you so much for your time and congratulations again on the win. And I hope you guys secure a lot more wins.
Thank you.
Yeah. Bye.